Hello everyone, it's Ngozi. Welcome back to my channel. How are you all doing? Yes, I'm back with another one. Thank you guys for showing my last video so much love. It was titled the real reason Black women are going back to perms and relaxers, and you know, I keep talking about how I'm trying to be more consistent. I'm really trying to do things on YouTube this year on this channel, and that video was so encouraging. So thank you guys so much for all of y'all support. So in that video, I talked a little about my journey with natural hair. I said 19 years. It's actually been 18 years that I've been natural, 2006. So it's been 18 years. I talked about like really empathizing with women who are going back to perms and relaxers. I have a wig on in this video. I don't have a perm, don't have a relaxer, but like I mentioned, it doesn't mean that one is necessarily better than the other. And I think that's a lot of what I was trying to get into that video, understanding the reasons why some women choose to relax their hair. I mentioned aesthetic. I mentioned convenience, ease of styling, not having to live around your hair in terms of working out and styling, being a little bit more free. And then I also mentioned products and like, you know, things of that nature. So the video got a lot of comments, and I really just wanted to speak about some of the major things that were coming up repeatedly. In terms of aesthetic, I know there's conversations and I even mentioned in my last video about you know, where that comes from and why some women just don't feel comfortable wearing their own hair. You know, I'm not here to tell people what to do. We're all grown adults. I mentioned that in the video. I understand some people feel as if it's your hair, it grows out of your head, you should learn to love it. But like I mentioned in my last video, we're not going to love everything about ourselves. That's just the truth. I know we're all on a journey of self-love and, you know, self-discovery and acceptance and things like that. But there is a fine line between understanding that I love this thing, this is how I am, but also wanting to change or enhance certain things. I mentioned the braces example, right? We could use that same concept. Why don't straighten your teeth? Your teeth are crooked. That's how God made you. You should love your teeth the way they are. But come on now, everyone has Invisalign braces because we want straight teeth. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to say that that's the same thing as hair, particularly Black women's hair. But I just feel as if when we have these conversations, we have to be balanced. We can't just speak to things when it's worked towards our advantage and then make certain things such a big talking point and then forget everything else. I think it's just very unfair, and we tend to do that when it comes to certain things, right? So I definitely understand that whole aesthetic thing, but like I mentioned, it is what it is. Some people just like straight hair, and some those people who like straight hair happen to be my fellow Black women. So I'm not here to tell them they have to wear their hair natural because it grows off their hair like that. I just don't feel as if that's my place, right? Another comment that kept coming up was about the time, right? And I stressed that. I had a lot of people ask me, you know, I was very happy to see a lot of people that really didn't understand like the different hair patterns. And one girl even said she's 4Z. I'm like, yes, I'm 4Z too. And they're really curious about like how long styling actually takes, because I think this is a really, really big one. And to me, honestly, it's the more popular reason that most women go back to perms and relaxers, and I understand why. And I think for certain people who may have like finer hair, not as full hair, looser curl patterns, you know, hair that isn't as dry, they just really won't understand, because they may be able to do their hair in 2 hours or an hour. But I know what my wash day is, y'all. Last week was the first time I washed my hair in 10 months by myself and styled it. I was in pain by the end of the day. It took me legit like 6 hours. And mind you, I just, under this wig is just like 10 box braids. I didn't even do anything crazy. If I'm trying to do twist outs, I'm trying to cornrow my hair down for a wig, if I'm trying to do any of those styles, it's an easy 8 hours. And I'm just like, I can't spend that much time doing my hair every 2 weeks, even monthly. It's too much. And I mentioned how once I started really, once I started working full-time a couple years ago is when I started really going to the salon frequently. And growing up with natural hair, I did majority of my hair by myself. I would only go like to straighten it and get trims like 2-3 times a year, but I was the one who styled my hair all the time, and I just don't have the energy or the patience for it. By the time I was done, hair was everywhere over the floor, in the sink, I had to clean, had to sweep. I'm just like, now I know why it's been 10 months since I washed and styled my hair. This is too much. So trust me, for the people who say they perm their hair because it's easier and they don't have the time or energy to do with their hair, it's not an excuse. It can be an excuse, but to me it's a valid excuse, a very, very valid excuse, because I understand and I know, coming from, you know, personal experience, how time consuming and how much energy it takes to do my own hair. Right. And I know a lot of you guys mentioned the Rev Air, and I look at the pricing, I'm like, this is a little bit expensive, but I did order some blow dryer tips for my current blow dryer now. I don't think I've ever tried to blow dry my hair, or it's probably been like in high school. Like it's just too thick, it's too much hair, it's too overwhelming. So what I'm going to try and do next with my next wash, I think I'm going to wash my hair in another week or so, is put into sections, do like braid outs, then blow dry it out section by section. I bought some heat protectant my hairstylist uses. I just really want to try blow drying my hair myself to see if I can do it, because like, yeah, just to be able to wear my hair in a ponytail. So yeah, for the people that think that time isn't valid or giving their reasons, or, you know, I understand people giving suggestions of what works for them, but as a 4Z natural hair girl, I know how much time it takes to properly do my hair, from the detangling, the pre-pooing, to the shampooing. I condition and deep condition my hair every time I wash it, because my hair, you know, moisture is a big issue for me. So, and I don't wash my hair that often. So I try and get as much moisture in it with each wash. So I had to sit under the little blow dryer cap I have. It's just a lot of steps. Like, you know, my hair is medium length, so it's not like it's short when I can just wash it, put some products, do like more like a wash and go. I tried my first wash and go 2 weeks ago. It lasted 4 days. I really liked it, but it doesn't last long enough, and I'm not washing my hair every 4 days. I don't have energy or time for that. When it comes down to time, I know people will compare, you know, someone made a comment about, you know, non-Black women spend like an hour to do their hair every day in the morning, and or every few days, and I get that. I do agree to an extent that a lot of us Black women in particular have this idea that our hair shouldn't take time to do, because we're so used to, you know, not washing it as often or hiding it under wigs and weaves. So the idea of even washing your hair every week and styling it is like, oh, that's too much. I do agree to an extent that a lot of it is our reprogramming and the way we think about hair and how often we should be doing it. But I also believe that that's a result of how much time it takes to do our hair versus other ethnicities, right? Because even if, you know, someone can have really long hair, if their hair is straight, like I mentioned in my last video, it's easier. It's not as painful. It's softer. Like, let's be real. Like, I'm not saying one is better than the other, but if we're having an honest conversation about what's easier to do, what takes less time, what's not as painful, straighter hair is easier to do. So you can't really compare someone with straight silky hair to someone with thick, you know, kinky coils and say, well, they wash their hair every week, you should be able to wash your hair every week too. No, because their hair doesn't take as long. Their hair is easier to do, you know. But again, I do agree that a lot of Black women are just not used to doing their hair as often as we could or should be doing. So when we compare it to other people, we kind of sound like we're complaining and whining, like, come on now, you can take 2-3 hours and do your hair every 2 weeks, right? So I do get that point. But I think that when it comes to hair, like I mentioned, it has been so politicized, Black women's hair in particular, natural hair in particular. The community, you know, I know it started off, it had some good, it made people really go into discovering their real natural hair pattern and really exploring their hair, and I love it for that. But I'm very careful with telling grown people what they should or shouldn't be doing with their bodies, and that includes their hair. So people make comments about the cancer, and I mentioned that in my video. That's one of the main reasons why, that's one of the things I would look into if I decided to perm my hair. But I also brought up the point, we're not gonna just talk about cancer when it comes to relaxers. Let's talk about the processed food most people eat. Let's talk about the alcohol a lot of people drink, which is a poison. Let's talk about other things that people take, not exercising, sedentary lifestyles, loneliness. Like, we can't just say, oh, perms cause cancer, but not talk about all the other things that also contribute to cancer in America. You know, that's the point I make. Like, we have to be balanced. We have to have a full conversation. But I think it is great just seeing people talk about this, because I know a lot of people are in this boat. I mentioned seeing this trend on YouTube, right? And I'm happy to also understand it's happening in the real world, not with just, you know, YouTubers with followings. Like, a lot of women are coming to the point where they're like, I don't have to do this anymore. I chose to go natural for so and so reason, and I enjoyed it and I experienced it, but now I want to go back to my perms, you know, and it is what it is. It's their prerogative, it's their choice. It's not our business. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? I don't have a perm. I'm natural most of my life, 18 years, but that doesn't mean that I can't perm my hair tomorrow. That doesn't mean I can't perm my hair next week, next month, and nobody can tell me anything, because I know who I am and I know why I made the decision. And, you know, it's not that deep. That's the point I'm making. Like, I feel like a lot of these things, especially when it comes to Black women, we make things so serious, and sometimes it really isn't that serious. It really isn't that deep. It's just hair. It's just hair. It really is just hair. It grows back. I could perm my hair next week. Decide I want to go natural again. People go back and forth, perm, natural, perm. It is what it is. If you haven't watched my last video where I talked about this, I'm going to link it down below. But I mentioned the reasons why I haven't permed my hair. Number one is my scalp condition. It's really under control now due to some things I did. I'll link that video down below on my regimen and how I cure my dry, itchy scalp, aka seborrheic dermatitis. Knowing how far I've come, I'd be so annoyed if I went and permed my hair and exacerbated my condition. And as a result, I had to start from square one with treating my seborrheic dermatitis. Yeah, so that's the main reason why I haven't perm my hair, is because of my scalp condition. And I also mentioned the maintenance part. I'm going to salons, but I had to retract that because I go to the salon monthly now, so I can go to the salon every 2 months and just get a perm, if that means I can keep up with my hair myself at home, right? And we talk about like styles, certain versatility of styles, like, you know, maybe wanting to wear sew-in. I can't do that because I have natural hair, and, you know, keeping out my real hair and all that heat damage is just not worth it to me. You know, wanting to do more ponytails, sleek back ponytails, gel, all that stuff. I've done it with my hair, but I have to get like a silk press first. There's a lot of heat. Once they put that gel, it kind of reverts back. So I do understand why people women particularly decide to perm their hair. You know, like I said, I won't sit here and say there isn't necessarily any anti-Black sentiments, right, that can be associated with a perm. But I said there's a difference between you perming your hair because you don't like it, or perming your hair because you just want to not deal with your hair as much, or you think it makes your life easier. There's a difference, and I think that's what people are missing. Like, everything, like I said, everything is not that deep. Some things are just like, I want this, so I'm gonna do this. You know, it's not like, oh, I don't think everyone perming their hair just likes their natural hair or doesn't like their texture. I know a lot of people who love it, but it's just taking up too much of their time, is consuming them, and they feel as if a perm is their best option. I'm not gonna fault them for that. Let me know how you all feel about this. Is the reason a lot of Black women give for perming their hair is the time and convenience? Is that an excuse? Is that a valid excuse to you? Do you feel as if it's just all like, no, like you need to make the time and share hair? Or can you understand, especially for us 4Z girlies? Let me know how you feel about this content. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. And let's finish the conversation down below in the comment section. See you all later. Bye.